Because I knew. Well, I knew. I told y'all like 2 hours ago
That is true.
that was the guy. And then, sure enough.
I mean, I'm gonna support. Gonna support my alma mater.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You got to give the guy a shot. You can have your reaction, but you got to give him a shot. You can't be calling for one guy's head as if he's the worst coach in America and then be even more mad about the new guy.
Exactly.
I mean, but he did beat Tennessee Volunteers 3 years in a row. So how about that? By the way, Tip, I thought you were going to get a win on me in fantasy football.
Evan Ingram, of course, decided to have the best game of his season last night.
I needed him to because everybody else was on a bye for me.
Stu, what's up, brother?
Stu, I'm glad y'all got to link up with old Chucky C.
Make sure you guys share it. Like and share.
Like, share, subscribe.
There's so much stuff going on between coaches. I think half the country's in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, I'm thinking about jumping in myself.
Are you?
Been approached by a couple other podcasts, jump ship.
Have you? Yeah, well, we don't have any NIL money over here, buddy, so.
Oh, I've seen the balance. I've seen the balance sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go, buddy. You can go. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Real question is, Stu, how's that fried grouper? Hush puppies. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. There's so much to get to. I did see that. Joey Aguilar will
coming
be back.
He's back.
There's we'll talk about it. But
Donovan Spellman's leaving though, so it's going to be a big loss.
Well, I'll tell you who's having a good a lot of Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio are staying.
Coming from the repeat. Yeah,
a lot of them staying. Like all their stars. I mean, Smith is leaving, but he got word that Gabbert was coming back. Yeah. So
I love it.
I'm making early prediction of a repeat champion.
I mean, you got your two leading tacklers back in the
and
MAC.
Your quarterback.
Why? Yeah, I mean that too. But I'm just saying from a defensive, they basically won the MAC with
a defense.
With a defense,
they 100% did. 100% did.
Morgan, and then, what's going on?
Then we got to talk about that too.
Tulane,
Willie Fritz, man.
Oh, I know.
I'm telling you that has something to do with it.
There's no doubt about it.
I'm telling you. Well, you just tell me when you're ready to go live, Jeff, and we'll. Or I know we're live.
We've been live.
I know we're live, but you tell me when to get this show started. Get a quick drink of DC.
What you got there? A little ironclad coffee?
No, it's a little DC. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a little Nashville Barrel. Private batch, Jeff.
Private label. We'll see.
Could be something.
Ready to go when you are.
Okay. Ready? Gotcha. Welcome in to the world's greatest Group of Five football podcast of all time. This is the Group of Five guys. Our mission and our goal is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs. This is the voice that the mainstream sports media, as we've seen over the last couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of years, absolutely will not be. We need every single person's help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms, Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, at Group of Five Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcast, or Spotify, or wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Or you can go to groupof5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag. We have got a gigantic show for you tonight. Breaking news all over the place. We got new coaches have found new homes. We are in full-blown college football free agency at this point. And then probably the most important thing on this show, we have got to recap these conference championship games and recap a heck of a time that we had in Lynchburg, Virginia. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
Lee Corso is a guy who had a retirement party 10 years ago, and yet he still won't leave the office.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the group of 5.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
I really appreciate you do for the Group of 5 programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are in the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of 5 because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
I appreciate what you guys do, truthfully, covering the Group of 5. Y'all said it earlier, but the Sun Belt to me is college football.
Well, the news has officially broke, it appears. Tip, Jeff, a lot of new head coaches, and today was the one that we, of course, as our alma mater, has apparently, I guess the school hasn't announced anything officially yet, but there was rumors swirling earlier today, and we had our little group text going, and we kind of thought we had confirmation of the guy, and we didn't say anything because we're not TMZ by any means, don't want to report on anything that's not a fact. But then Pete Thamel dropped the hammer. Derek Mason, new head coach, Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. Jeff, initial thoughts, brother?
Initial thoughts are I am and was going to support whoever they hired in the first place because I love that program. I love that university. I want it to succeed and I want it to grow. Now, if you would have asked me a couple days ago what direction they should have gone, in my opinion, and I'm just a person that gets on a computer, honestly, and talk to my buddies about football, and I played a little bit. Like, that's the extent of my knowledge. But I thought they should have went younger, guy who was hungry, somebody kind of had something to prove, and not that Derek Mason doesn't. And I would have been fine, honestly, with a little bit of inexperience, because I just think that they kind of go hand in hand with this program. You need somebody that has some fire, somebody that wants to grow, that wants to be successful, and that was my initial thoughts. Now, Derek Mason I think he is an energetic guy, I will say that. Not the greatest head coaching tenure at Vanderbilt, albeit it was Vanderbilt who they are in the SEC, so I think they probably support their football program maybe a little bit more from a resource and university standpoint than Middle does, so he's probably going to be used to that. But no, I want them to succeed. I just think that if you want my honest opinion, I think they missed. I do. I think from a fan base perspective, they're going to look at this hire, and you had a chance to really bring somebody in and get everyone excited. Even if it was someone of an unknown, you could have done some marketing to explain why. Now I'm interested to see the press conference in the morning about it. But I just think there were other names on the table that would have gotten the fan base more excited and more behind this program. Because if you look at Twitter and you look at all the social media, you're always going to have you're always going to have people that they were going to say what they were going to say either way. Whether you hired somebody that was young and up and coming, they were going to say the guy had no experience or whatever it was. So you were going to have naysayers on both sides. But I don't think it moves the needle like either way. That's
Yeah.
just my
Well,
opinion.
that's kind of
but
your.
I say that I'm going to be there. I'm going to support. Excited to meet the guy if I get the chance. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and you got to also wait and see who he brings on the staff, right? Because he might hire, some young innovative offensive coordinator that's going to be the
Very
one
true.
that really makes it an exciting team to watch. But yeah, I think you mentioned it. You have a couple routes when you're hiring a coach at the Group of Five level, especially if your goal is to re-energize a fan base that has been pretty stagnant for a long time. And those two options are, like you said, a young up and comer, maybe doesn't have a big brand name yet. And then, the downside to that is if they have success, they're probably not going to last long at that school. The other option is hire a name, which it appears that's kind of the route that they went. Now, look, he's had a decent record as a defensive coordinator, defensive coach. He's been that for a long time. And like you said, Vanderbilt, I mean, you want to talk about a place that's almost impossible to win, and say what you will. He did beat the in-state SEC rival 3 times in a row. Now, they were pretty down at that time, but still, man. And so you got to give him a shot. And I'm definitely going to do that. I'm kind of anxious about it. The hire, I'm kind of like, well, it wasn't the Christmas gift that I asked for, but I'm surprised by it, and I'm intrigued by it.
Well, you just think, the other vacancy in this conference was UTEP, right? And they go get Scotty Walden out of Austin Peay, which was a name that a lot of people kept bringing up. So there's your contrast.
Well, and Austin Peay's right up the road from Middle Tennessee. However, he's a Texas guy, though.
He is, but he did a good job at Austin Peay. You got to think he's made some relationships, in the Middle Tennessee area, or in the Southeast anyways. So it's just interesting. I'm sure they had a shot at him. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
And you got to think there's some coordinators around both the Power 5 and Group of 5 level that wanted the job. And I don't know, who knows. You never know. You never know what's said in an interview or what that process looks like. I mean, I kind of, not that this has anything to do with it, but I remember when everybody was all mad that the Eric Bieniemy never got a head coaching job, but then it kind of came out that he was awful in interviews.
Yeah.
And so you don't know what the truth is. You don't know any of that stuff. But again, look, hey, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what he does. But yeah, you mentioned Scotty Walden, so he goes to UTEP. Boise State retains the interim head coach, who obviously went on to win the Mountain West Conference. So seems like that's a guy that the players like. And then, New Mexico, it seems like, I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but it seems like they're going Bronco Mendenhall, which is, in my mind, similar to the middle hire of Derek Mason. It's kind of a name. Oh, wow. At first thought you're thinking, oh, wow, it's a good coach, just without. But then my worry for guys like that is sometimes they might be stuck in their ways of, we're not going to the portal, or we're not, they're not necessarily up on the way that recruiting goes. And I don't know about either Mason or Mendenhall, in particular. That's kind of what you worry about with a coach that had some success, but let's be honest, it was a decade ago. And then, Mason's been around. He was at Auburn for that Brian Harsin stint for a couple months. I feel like he was at Auburn. And then I think his last stop, Oklahoma State, as a D coordinator last year, but not this season. So, on all these guys, who else is, Tulane, now that job's open. And then you got a new athletic director too, at Tulane. So that's an interesting job.
We have to stop the leaking of head coaches going to other places right before a championship game. Can I know it's never, it's never going to actually stop, but that is just that you can't say that does not affect the players in the team.
No, 100%
I hate it.
does.
I just absolutely hate it.
I mean, especially when it's like it's one of those deals where it's rumors, but everybody kind of knows it. And when Chadwell left Coastal last year, I mean, Coastal had an all-time collapse last year in their last couple weeks of the season, and it was like, nobody officially announced it, but everybody knew he was gone to take the Liberty job. And and then with Fritz, I mean, that rumor, I think the first couple tweets came out day before that game started coming out. So, I mean, come on, man. You got the team's probably in the team hotel. They're doing a walkthrough, and then all of a sudden let's not pretend these kids ain't sitting on Twitter and Instagram all day long while they're not in team meetings. So they're playing on their phones in their hotel room, and then you have a team meeting, and in comes your head coach that you just found out through a third party is taking another job. Like, whether you want to admit it or not, the level of respect, the level of enthusiasm for that guy, it's going to be different. And, look, I'm not taking anything away from SMU because we knew that was a really good team, but you got to think that plays a factor, and not necessarily playing a factor on, what happens between the lines, between the whistles, but what happens leading up to it in the preparation, in the team meetings, in the team meal, in the coaches meetings. Then, now you have your coordinators and your position coaches thinking, is he going to bring me with it? Is he taking me to Houston with him? Am I going to be stuck here? Is the next guy going to keep me? I got to up and move my family probably in the next week. I mean, it's just a lot that goes into this stuff. And so I think with this, coaches searches and stuff, they gotta get rid of what it is they have the early signing day in December. Yep. So these programs feel like they have to make the change before the early signing day to get momentum. So you got to get rid of that because then you got some time. Yeah, then you got some time till that whatever it is, that Wednesday in February for the actual signing day. I mean, it's in I know we're going to get into it, but it kind of factors also into the portal. I mean, you got guys now that their coach gets fired or their coach leaves, or we're hearing that coaches are basically telling them to get in the portal.
Yeah.
In order to flip their roster for somebody else. I mean, that's garbage, man. It's absolutely garbage.
Yeah. One we didn't mention was ULM, Brian Vincent.
From UAB.
Yep. Was the interim at UAB when Bill Clark stepped down, and then was the Lobos offensive coordinator, who, I mean, honestly, they were a lot more competitive this year, especially offensively. So we'll see what he can do down there at Monroe. But I'm excited for him, and I'm happy. I think he deserved an opportunity.
Well, and I think with a lot of these guys, especially that one, Monroe's a tough place to win, but that's not necessarily a splash hire. It's not a brand name hire, but you know what? It might be the right hire.
Yep.
And here's the thing. It's like, okay. And again, I'm not saying that Derek Mason or Bronco Mendenhall are the wrong hire. I'm not saying that at all. They might both absolutely crush. But if you make the splash hire, okay, you get a little momentum for a little bit. You might get some of your bandwagon fans back in the door. But if you make the right hire, the long-term play, and your guy builds a program, and now you're successful for multiple years, now you've built something that you can sustain that momentum. Now you got people that now you're firing up. You might not fire up your fan base at the press conference, but you're going to fire up the fan base the minute they start winning some games or the minute they start looking like a new, exciting brand of football to watch. So I think, again, I'm not sitting there in the interviews. I don't know what all goes into this stuff. There's absolutely no telling. You don't know if it's the AD making the hire, if it's the president making a recommendation, if it's the board of regents, if it's some big money booster that's putting his input in there. So you really don't know. So there's nobody. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's wild, but we could talk about this portal. We talk about this transfer portal. I mean, I don't know. Tip, you're the numbers guy. Do you happen to have it's something like 4,000 players in the portal right now?
Yeah, it's a little over 4,000 players that announced they're going to the portal.
Man, it's just insane.
What was the stat you had last year, Jeff, on the percentage of guys?
Man,
most of those 4,000 are going to get left.
It was I think I want to say it was like 33%, and don't quote me on that because I cannot remember, but it was not very high. I think it was like 33% of the guys transfer at the same level, and then it was a large majority of them that had to either transfer down or didn't get picked up at all. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying the portal, like, don't go into the portal. That's not what I'm saying. And when it's coming find out, I'm reading a lot of reports online saying that coaches are also telling kids like, hey, like, it's your first year. Like, we didn't like, it was a bad pick on our part. Basically, like, we thought you were better than what you were. You didn't look great as a freshman or a transfer coming in. Like, you need to go ahead and hop in the portal because we're going to replace you. So there's stuff going on both sides. And man, we got to do something because there's a lot of bad information. I mean, I'm just using this as an example. Daniel Richardson for FAU is hopping in the portal. I don't know if the coaches told him to leave. I don't know if he's hopping in or not. But FAU was middle to bottom of the pack in the American. Why are you going? Like, if that's your choice, why are you going in the portal? Like, where do you think you're going to go? Like,
well, if you're a coach telling a guy to get in the portal, like, how about develop him?
There's that too.
I mean, how about coach the guy, especially if he's a young guy? I mean, and if you're a player and the coach tells you that, I mean, yeah, like, that would be tough to stay there and continue, working your ass off for that guy. But at the same time, man, like, I mean, unless they're gonna pull your scholarship, then.
Well, yeah, I don't know exactly how that works. I just wish I wish one of the players that this is happening to, that I'm reading online, would come out and say it. But it makes sense why they're not, because they're afraid to out a coach who's doing that. And then now
because they're all doing it.
Well, yeah, and then they might try and they're trying to go and play somewhere else, right? So they're getting in the portal. If they look like they've outed their coach, like another coach will be like, "Oh, I'm not going to pick you up. Like, you're this, that, and the other thing," whether it's maybe true or not. But man, we got to get a handle on this.
Well, it's all a mess, dude. And I mean, and I put on Twitter the other day about it, like, we've known for a long time that a lot of kids have, some uncle or older brother or, friend from the neighborhood or whatever that's in their ear and they're pointing them in the wrong direction. They're looking out for themselves and they're not looking out for the person that's actually putting in the work and actually succeeding on the football field. And unfortunately, with this NIL, it's almost like pro athletes and celebrities and stuff that go broke because they're trying to take care of, 20 different long lost relatives that come out of the woodworks. And now you put this NIL and you put that pressure on a kid, an 18, 19-year-old, and you got, Uncle Joe or their dad in their ear saying, "Hey, son, we need the money. We need the money. We need the money." And any boy or man, only thing they want to do in life is make their dad happy. So, I mean, It's like you're putting these kids in an impossible position. But if we got any players that listen or follow us on social, like, when you hear something, like, obviously, respect your parents and whatever, but, like, also, go talk to your coach or go talk to somebody else that won't potentially have a selfish motive for this stuff, because that's what you've got happening. And then so you've got these relatives and you've got it going through all these different channels. We talked about it where they call their old high school buddy and he puts the head coach on, but now you've also got where the coach tells a player that's on the team, who tells their old high school coach, who calls the other player Z's number or player Z's dad and says, "Hey, I heard through the grapevine that our NIL collective could get him $200,000 at this Power 5 school." And then that kid's like, "Oh, my dad needs the money or my family needs the money, and they got $200K over at, just for example, Texas A&M or something like that. And you're at North Texas and they ain't got it like that." And then it's just putting these kids in an impossible position. And they got to do You combine that with these coaches going all over the place. I mean, you combine that. I mean, they got to come up with some kind of it's absolutely unregulated right now. This NIL, this portal stuff.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say on it before we move on is just understand what you're getting yourself into. If you're a kid that's getting contacted by other schools, they might say, hey, we have $100,000 for you in NIL money, so come on. But just understand that a lot of them aren't giving you $100,000 up front.
Correct.
Like, hey, you get there, you sign, you transfer, whatever. You get there and like, okay, here's $10,000. Now you got to win the job, and now you got to produce in the field, and we'll give you the rest of it in installments. So just, and then you might transfer to a Power 5 school, but if you're getting all the film in the world, and your goal, and you're a top player in the group of 5 on your team, like your goal is to go to the NFL. That's where you're going to make your big money, and what you need to go to the NFL is tape. Put up the numbers, be successful, and have as much tape as possible. Now, you go to this other school because they're offering you $100,000. You get there, they give you 10 up front, and you don't start. I'm not saying don't bet on yourself. I'm just saying make the right decision for the right reasons, because now you're costing yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars because you lose draft stock, or you don't even get drafted at all, or the NFL agent that was going to give you money up front, now you're not getting that agent. So just be smart. The best thing you can do is get film. Put great film and great numbers together regardless of where you're at. NFL teams are going to find you and they're going to see you. But they're not going to see you if you're sitting second on the depth chart or third and you're getting a third of the plays and tape that you were getting. That's all I'm going to say.
And be careful with what you see on social media, especially at the quarterback position. There's been a couple of things that have come out. So I don't know if he was the first, but he was one of the first. The Washington State quarterback, Cam Ward, was one of the first to announce he was transferring. And then it came out on social media that there was 10 plus schools that were already offering him $1 million in NIL money. And then another coach, I cannot remember exactly who it was, came out and said that if you want to get a good quarterback, you got to spend $1 million, 1.5, $2 million for these kids. So you're seeing these quarterbacks flood the transfer portal market. And what's going to happen is when these top tier quarterbacks, these schools are going to bid up high for these top tier quarterbacks. And then once they find a new school to go to, then all of a sudden, all these other schools are going to start filling up with quarterbacks faster than you can go look at the schools and stuff. And then you're going to end up possibly going to a school that you didn't initially think you were going to go to, might not be the best fit. And like Jeff just said, you can end up being second or even third on the depth chart. So just be careful with all the stats and dollar figures and everything that you're seeing out there on social media.
Amen to
that.
that.
I just throw out like 4 names real quick that I want to get your guys' take on, and they're all quarterbacks.
Love to.
Chandler Rogers, North Texas, is in the portal. Daquan Finn, Toledo, is in the portal. Taylon Green, Boise State, who just won a Mountain West championships, in the portal. Curtis Rourke, Ohio quarterbacks, in the portal.
What opinion would you like, Jeff? Why do I think it's smart of them to get in the portal?
Yes, that's a good. Yeah. Do you think it's smart of them to get those guys particular? And you can go on a case by case basis, but
I don't necessarily think. I also think this, right? Like Tip brought up, once the top 5 or 6 guys go, like, not every school's got no $1.5 million to give a quarterback. Most of the schools don't have that to give the quarterback. So let's not. It's like when it's like when you're getting recruited for a job and they're like, you can make $500,000 in your first year, and it's like, oh yeah, because one guy did that ever. You can, sure you can, but like, and Taylon Green, I saw where he hadn't ruled out coming back to Boise, which it's like, it's crazy to me because they fired the coach. And you like officially moved into the the QB1 spot. Now you're wanting to leave. It's wild to me. But man, I Jeff, you brought up a couple things. You brought up the NFL stock, and I think too, like if you're at your school and you're having success wherever you are, like that coach and that coaching staff are the only ones that are going to answer questions from these NFL GMs and these NFL scouts. You keep hopping around. And yeah, like you might have your new school coach has good things to say, but they go talk to, the assistant strength coach at your first school. And now, they're going to have they're going to feel a certain way about you. They're going to be a lot more honest. I can tell you that much if you've jumped ship on them. So you're just like inviting more question marks in my mind. And then what else? You said something else I wanted to touch on too, Jeff, and now I can't remember. You said so much stuff there.
Sorry.
It was good. I had it in my head. It was going to be good. I was going to go on an all-time rant probably. Can't remember it. That's okay.
Just bring it back up.
Yeah, if I remember it, we'll bring it back up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about those guys. I do want to give a shout out though, as a whole. I said it. I don't remember if we were recording yet, but Miami of Ohio goes and wins the MAC, and all of their star players announce immediately that they're coming back. They're not entering the portal. They're not entering the draft. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Gabbert, Salopek,
Ty
Wise, your guy, the receiver.
Yeah, Gage Larvin.
Yeah, I mean, so
it's big time.
Shout out to those guys, man, because honestly, all of those guys probably had some people in their ear about transferring. 100%. I bet you every single one of those guys. But I'll tell you a place, Jeff, Tip, that I would not transfer from.
Tell me.
That is a place, someplace warm. Little place called Lynchburg, Virginia. We got to talk about the trip, guys. I mean, just amazing. Clubhouse Bar and Grill Thursday night. Wonderful hosts. I mean, good spot, man. I mean, I wish I could remember everybody's names that we hung out with, but I do. Special shout out. Hopefully he's watching live right now. But Zach Green, you deserve credit, in my opinion, for putting us on with that entire, like all the Liberty fan base, because that fan base embraced us, embraced our show, embraced hanging out with us. I mean, I would venture to say better than any school we've been to so far.
It's up.
Questionable.
It's
people
up
of Boone, people of Statesboro, people of Troy, like great people. But I mean, from the entire, the students, the staff, the coaches, the players, like this was a big time deal now. And yeah, Clubhouse Bar and Grill. I mean, we had some wings, good wings. I thought wings were good. I don't know why we went boneless, though. That was not my call, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering. I was standing there, and we ordered the boneless wings. I mean, more of a bone-in guy. But, I get it. You're feeding a bunch of people. And then the loaded fries were big time.
Yeah, it was just a great atmosphere. I mean, you had 3 different sections of that bar. And you had the karaoke on the front side, and just that little strip of the bar there in the middle, and then all the pool tables in the back. So, I mean, it was honestly like a perfect place because you had plenty of room, had plenty. Every time you wanted a drink, walk right up, get it. It's right there. You weren't waiting on anything. And then we got to shoot some pool with a bunch of different guys, and it was such a great time, man. Can't thank everyone who came out enough for showing up to hang out with us. Gave away a couple gift cards, so it was really cool, man. Means a lot to us.
And then Devin Doyle, you can't say enough about that guy. First of all, I'll say this: if you're Liberty and you got recruits in town, and Devin Doyle's like hosting them, you're in a good spot. I mean, that dude the tour we got. I mean, just the hospitality that we got. Their facilities, man. I mean, it is envious. It is envious what they've got going on there. I mean, just everything, the whole, the backdrop of the mountains, all of it. And then on top of everything's super nice, super new, like full 100-yard indoor with the big windows in the end zone, looking out at the mountains, practice field attached to it, stadium attached to the other side. Like they're doing it right, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, you gotta, and I'll say this, I mean, from everybody we talked to, and huge shout out to Sea of Red, John Manson, and Chad Hassan. I mean, the fact that we had multiple conversations with multiple people. Mike Hagan, everybody's on the same page. It's amazing what you can do when president to boosters to alumni, like to everybody on down through your coaching staff, like literally through your, like everybody loves it. Everybody's on the same page. And then you have, the resources to give the program everything you need. It's no wonder why Liberty's successful. Like it's like, I know not everybody has that budget. Like I get that, but like we go to, we've been to a lot of places, and I'm not going to call anyone out, but like, hell, alma mater doesn't seem like, from the president to the board of trustees to the athletic department to the coaches, like they're not on the same page, and you don't have the resources. It's like at least do one of the things right.
Jeff, can I say something here? Because
Please.
on social media, when we posted, all we did was post pictures and a video of the facilities, and all the people that hate Liberty came out of the woodworks and started talking about corruption and collusion and politics and being hypocrites and throwing stones all over the place, living in their little glass house. Can I say something? No
Please.
matter how corrupt or whatever you think that their former president was, that doesn't make 6,000 students show up to the game and stay for the whole entire game. That doesn't make the campus that you walk around, not a single piece of trash anywhere on the entire campus. That doesn't make every building, every bathroom, everywhere that you go on campus spotless clean. That's got nothing to do with whatever you may think they did in the past, or however you may think that they got their money or whatever. I get it, whatever. No, not everybody has those, like you said, those resources, but you do have the ability to pick up trash and pressure wash the damn steps of your stadium and clean the bathrooms and clean the toilets. And your students, listen, everybody was making fun. Can they even drink alcohol? Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's the opposite of what everybody says. Maybe you need to not have alcohol anywhere near the campus, because those students were there half an hour before kickoff. That matter of fact, they were lined up at the gate 7 hours before kickoff in 30-something degree weather in the rain. Not drunk.
And the
Are you
Jokers
kidding
had
me?
no shirts.
No shirts on. And they stayed, and they were loud for the entire game. So say what you want, but all these other schools that are like complaining about, oh, they don't sell alcohol. And I'm just like, I'm so sick of the hatred towards them. Like, I get it, dude. Everybody, the minute you claim a religion, then it's like every little thing that you do, the eyes are on you, and any little mistake you make, it's they're coming out of the woodworks. But again, like, place is clean, the place is new, the fans are engaged, they're involved, and this is not even this is a relatively new football program. This is a fan base that's really still getting educated on college football in general, and they are so bought in. So I'm just sick of all the people. I'm sorry, on social media. I love you, and you guys got nice stuff too, some of you, but like, let's pump the brakes on just going back to however many years ago when bringing politics involved. That ain't got nothing to do with the buy-in from who's currently around that campus.
Agreed.
Sorry.
No, that's an epic rant.
It's a good game, though.
That was a great
really
game.
good game. So let's
And I
talk
gotta-
about the game.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I gotta say this. I mean, I was so excited to see Liberty play, but I was also excited to see New Mexico State. They brought it. I mean, it was back and forth. And every time Liberty would score and they got up, Pavia and that offense would come right back. I mean, talk about a playmaker. I hope, I don't know what was going on with his elbow. I haven't looked to see, what the long-term report is. I hope he's good to go. He'll be good to go for the bowl game, because he is fun to watch. He reminds me of when Baker Mayfield was at Oklahoma. Just a wiry guy, not necessarily conventional, but just makes plays. Not going to go away. I mean, he just would run around. He'd make plays. He'd kind of buy some time, and boom, hit one of his receivers. And then it's just Liberty's offense was. I mean, you can't say enough about Caden Salter. And I mean, is he a dog or what?
CJ Daniels.
CJ Daniels is an absolute dog.
That I was going to bring up, Jeff, as you talked about that. All of the star players on both teams showed up and had star games.
Yep.
From Pavia, the backup kids might be better than he is. But Trent Hudson on New Mexico State, dog. And then everybody on Liberty from Cooley to Salter. Yes, CJ Daniels. He had my MVP vote, by the way.
7 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown.
But they all did, man. All the star players showed up in that game, and it was a heck of a performance. I wanted to say one more thing on Pavia too, and I told y'all this before the game. So like when they came out, when New Mexico State came out and they were doing individual position group stuff, all their QBs, they were doing some little, they're like in a circle doing like option pitches, like just kind of like both hands, but like every different direction. And no disrespect to most of them, but most of the guys on their roster were going through the motions doing that. Did not Pavia. He made every single pitch as if it was in the game, as if he was getting hit as he was pitching it. I mean, it just says something about what kind of guy he is. And, I mean, you mentioned that New Mexico State, those first couple drives made it look very easy. And it was an uneasy feeling there in Lynchburg for a little bit.
No wonder why they beat the brakes off of Auburn. But, Tip, what about when we were watching the game, Blaze Berlowitz, the true freshman backup quarterback?
Third stringer, really, because Stowers is the backup.
Yeah. But I remember we were watching, Tip was like, I think this guy throws a better ball than Pavia might.
Well, and just looking at the initial eye test, he looked more athletic.
He did.
Just the way he was
smooth.
Yes, exactly. The way he was moving around and moving out of the pocket when he needed to. There was one spin move that we saw that we noticed, Murph, where he defender was coming and he kind of spun out of the way to get outside the pocket. It was just smooth and he just looked calm and comfortable, and that's not something you would expect to see from a true freshman quarterback. So I hope we're talking about transfer portals. I hope he does not enter the transfer portal. I hope he stays. And if he does, New Mexico State's got a really, really, really good quarterback for years to come.
They do. And, again, just talking about the atmosphere, it wasn't a sellout, but again, I mean, it was cold and wet all day. All day it was raining. I mean, we were sitting there under a tent from, what time did we get over there? About noon until 4:30 it finally stopped raining. And then it held off from about 4:30 until probably 5:30. And then it started raining again. And it was not a drizzle during that little stint. It was coming down hard. The Jokers were painting up, paint dripping all over the place in the stadium. And nobody left. And it's amazing to see because so many places in the group of five are the opposite. I mean, that rain, that forecast from the week leading up to it would have scared a lot of people away.
Yeah.
But, again, it was cold and wet, and they just kept coming in droves. I couldn't believe the students were like, when I went over there when we went over there to get, media stuff, they had like blankets. They were like camping out. I mean, love it. Absolutely love it. And again, supposedly no alcohol involved in these guys standing out here in the cold. So like maybe that's the answer, because everywhere else they say, well, the kids go to the bars to get drunk before the game. Well, maybe you don't have a bar anywhere nearby. They got no choice. So
Sure.
I don't know. Well, let's talk about these other games. We talked a little bit about Tulane SMU. And that was obviously the one that everybody was watching that, propelled Liberty into the Fiesta Bowl, which, by the way, I have to take credit because I called that Fiesta Bowl against the loser of Washington, Oregon. And everybody was telling me Peach Bowl this against Georgia or something like that. I knew that was coming. But SMU gets the win. I mean, Jennings, quarterback, he started out a little rough. 2 early picks. But then he kind of righted the ship. He had a couple good runs, but Jalen Knighton, too much. Tulane, you just wonder how much the Willie Fritz news came into play.
Yeah, could have been that. I also think SMU's defense kind of flexed their muscles in this game and showed why they're one of the best defenses in all of college football.
Yeah, and I think you could have you could have made the argument for SMU over Liberty, but
the media was sure trying to. Did you see the graphic that ESPN put up about 1,500 times about strength of schedule? And I can't remember what else was included on that. But it in the middle of this game, when they kind of realized that SMU was going to win this game, it all of a sudden you started seeing like it's Liberty versus SMU, and here are these like rankings or strength of schedule or
Yep.
whatever, and it just was heavily favoring SMU. And it's just like, I mean, they're just trying to build this narrative
Yep.
for this committee to look at because they know the committee's watching. But even though SMU, like, incredible win, obviously, like, you got a backup quarterback in there that, struggles early, but does enough towards the end to win the game. We kind of thought, him being a dual threat guy could prevent some could create some problems for Tulane's defense. Credit to SMU on the huge win, but Liberty being undefeated and the beating New Mexico State twice, who that same team beat that Murph mentioned, beat Auburn so bad. Liberty, if Liberty won, they should have been ranked higher, regardless if SMU won that game.
Well, and they were trying to paint the narrative. You could tell they were just like they were trying to paint the narrative, at the playoff level when they were. And I'm not saying they got it wrong. They had a pretty impossible choice to make. But at the same time, for the SMU folks, like, look, Florida State got left out of the playoff because of a backup quarterback. So SMU, you got 2 losses and a backup quarterback. I mean, maybe that came into play. I don't know. But I think Liberty deserved it. I think they both deserve it. I think there needs to be more. I think you got to have more than one Group of 5 New Year's representative, especially when you have, such a debatable, arguable selection to make. But what did you guys think? So I know we're Group of 5 guys, but what did you guys think of the playoff deal?
I think it just proves more why we need at least the 12 team,
teams.
if not 16, or it's just guys I've seen the Mike Leach video resurface on social media. Like, he had it spot on, man. He's like, at every level they got it figured out except for this one. Like, why can we not figure this out, a playoff system? It's not rocket science. It's not that difficult. Give the Group of 5 representation, and you'd be surprised, man. It would be bigger than March Madness, in my opinion. It really would. I don't understand why they wouldn't. But I get both cases on just to be brief on it because we got other games to get to. But I get both sides of it. Florida State deserving to be in. If we want the 4 best teams, Florida State probably ain't one of them. So it's hard to say.
Well, I think one of the committee's criteria was, and they were mentioning this, on ESPN as well, was an injury of a key player or something that could decrease your chances of winning. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Florida State's starting quarterback was out, so that I think that limits their ability to win a playoff game. So I mean, they had to take that into account, and it looks like they kind of heavily favored that part of it because they become the first. I'm pretty sure they become the first undefeated Power 5 team to win their conference and not make it into the top 4.
Well, where they screwed up was they had Florida State at 4 going into the week. The quarterback was already hurt.
Yeah.
So that's where they messed up. And, like, call me crazy, but you're gonna tell me that Georgia's not better than Florida State without their quarterback too? Like, that's what I'm like. You dropped Georgia all the way from 1 to 6 with a 3-point loss in the SEC championship game. Then you had Bama jump all the way from 8. Like that's where they screwed up. Had they put like Florida State at 4, Bama at 5, like going into the week knowing that this could potentially happen, like if you had Bama at 5 or Bama at 6 even, you could have been like, well, yeah, they just beat the number 1 team. They're going to jump 2 spots. Easy argument. But you jumped Bama from 8 to 4, Texas from 7 to 3, and then they left Ohio State just sitting there at 6 as if they had any shot to get in at all. I mean, they should have played out the scenarios going into last week so that they didn't look like, a bunch of kind of idiots this week. But hey, maybe now you can get Georgia fans on board with an expansion. Certainly going to get Florida State and probably the entire ACC on board with an expansion. Probably going to get Ohio State fans now on board with an expansion. So, dude, I'm telling you, if you had a 16-team playoff with the first round on campus, come on, man.
Be electric.
It would be incredible, especially if, because in my mind, they wouldn't do it this way. They would just seed all 5 Group of 5 champions as 16 through 11. But if you made being a champion like the criteria for hosting the first round, I mean, you tell me you get Oregon at Liberty first round of the playoffs. You get, Georgia at SMU first round of the playoffs. I mean, I don't know. I just think it'd be good. I mean, and then there would be no question mark. There would be no question mark of, well, Georgia's guys had to play SMU, so they didn't want to be there, or Bo Nix opted out, so that's why Liberty won. You wouldn't have that. It's a playoff game. Everybody's playing. You get more huge games, and I promise you'd get more viewers, even if you thought it was going to be a blowout. You get more viewers to watch Oregon at Liberty in a playoff game than you will in this Fiesta Bowl. I can tell you that much. So I don't know, man, but who am I? I'm just a fan. I don't know any of this stuff. So what are the games? So Miami, we talked about Miami too. Beating Toledo, we talked about it. We always talk about it. Toughest thing to do is beat a good team twice. That's another shout out to Liberty for beating New Mexico State twice. But, we knew Miami's defense was so good. It's funny because we all picked Miami to win the first game at home in Oxford. And then did we all pick Toledo?
I think so.
Honestly, can't remember. Yeah,
I know I did. And
there you go. There's the jinx again.
That's the curse again.
We went all of the same.
Yeah, but shout out to Miami. I mean, and Avion Smith, he hadn't been fantastic, but he had a couple big runs in that game to put that game away. So shout out to him. And then he's a guy, he's getting in the portal. I get it. You did your thing, and now the QB1's coming back. And now that being said, I don't know what options he's going to have. But, man, shout out to them. Shout out to the Red Hawks.
Yeah, I think it's a big credit to the coaching staff. Just, once Gabbert went down, they reworked that offense a little bit and tailored it to what Avion Smith does, best, which is run the ball. So he still had to make some big throws. Didn't have like a crazy, stat day or anything. But like you said, just a couple key runs. And then Rashad Amos, man, that guy, he made some cuts, and he's a stout kid. He made some jump cuts and some moves in the hole. I was like, this kid's a big-time player. I could see him playing on Sundays at some point.
Great recipe for a championship team. Great defense and a good run game on offense. That's exactly what Miami did. Yep.
Sorry, I just got a text that it's not. It's just funny how I'm distracted. I never do that. I apologize to you guys. I told you about Amos eye test on the field.
Yeah.
I'm getting good, dude. I might have to look into becoming a scout. I also told y'all Quentin Cooley passes the calves and glute test, and he certainly put on a performance. I told y'all Trent Hudson looks the part, tall, long guy. He put on a show. Mountain West, dude. Boy, I told y'all, Boise State, dude. I like. It must be a mental block for these other Mountain West teams, I think. I think Boise State to the rest of the Mountain West is like Bama to the SEC. You get them in a championship level game, and it's like, oh, man, like, here we go. I think that's what happens. I don't know. I mean, UNLV, great season, but kind of all, not all for nothing, but
it fell apart. I mean, fell apart at the end, didn't finish, and
had 3 turnovers.
Yep. And then Maava, he hopped in the portal. He's another one that's in the portal, so not sure what the story is behind that, but dude, Ashton Genty, what a stud! I hope he hangs around.
Is he in the portal?
I don't think I've seen.
There was
him
rumors
yet.
about that. There was rumors about that.
If they have an NIL collective, you better dump your money on Ashton Genty to keep him.
Put it all on.
Yeah, because Green.
He'll be playing on Sundays. That's for sure, though. I mean, my gosh, he's
shout
so
out to the Broncos, man.
Boise's had some good running backs. You just kind of, going all the way back to the that
Doug
Fiesta
Martin,
Bowl.
Alexander Madison.
Who was in the? Was it Ian Johnson or something like that?
Yeah,
he was the one.
Was that the one that proposed?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they've had some good backs out of Boise, but honestly, Genty looks the part more than any of the other ones ever has, for sure. But shout out to Boise State, man. Tell me, speaking of expanded playoffs, tell me that now. You're going to send somebody to Boise,
Whew.
cold, blue turf, 36,000 screaming Bronco fans, probably snowing, and a playoff game in middle of December.
Be great.
They don't want any part of that. That's the truth of what it is the money hungry executives at ESPN they're the ones responsible for painting all these narratives. And now you're just seeing it. You're just seeing it even at the quote unquote highest level. You're seeing Florida State, like one of the all-time great college football programs, go undefeated and get left out of the playoffs. And I'm not saying I disagree with it, unfortunately, but man, it is we have a problem. We got to talk Sunbelt, of course. Troy, look, it just dominant. I did like John Summerall's quote after the game, trying to plug them for the New Year's Six, but they got beat pretty bad by Kansas State. So I think that's what
early loss though. Early in the season.
True. That's true.
They weren't going to get it, but they were definitely deserving. I mean, you want to talk about an eye test team? They passed the eye test on every level, especially defensively. I mean, can we talk about Kamani Vidal?
Oh man,
What are you, 5 touchdowns?
Five touchdowns, 233 yards, and that's again. I mean, App State's defense ain't Swiss cheese.
No,
he's just built different, man. There's something in the water down there at Troy. I'm telling you.
Well, they got that psychopath strength coach, Rusty
is.
Witt. He's like a Navy SEAL or something like that.
Well, talk about a little psychopath. Do you see Summerall on the sidelines? I feel bad for that get back coach.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not a lip reader, but I'm pretty sure he told that guy, "Get the F off of me." What was he gonna do though? He was gonna kill the ref.
That fires your team up though.
Man, dude. So I that drive back from Lynchburg was a bitch. I did not get pulled over, which I guess I needed to probably tell that story too about me getting pulled over on the way up there. But I got back it was probably like 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I got to the house and immediately went to a Christmas party. And of course I show up and they're all sitting there all intense watching Alabama and Georgia. Well, so my buddy's got, his little patio TV. So I was like, hey man, you got the remote for the outside TV? So I'm standing out there solo watching App State and Troy. Nice. And then I went back inside and I was like, at that point it looked like Georgia was going to lose. It was mostly Georgia fans. And I was like, y'all want to put it on that Tulane SMU game and see who y'all are playing in the Peach Bowl or whatever? Did not go over well. Did not go over well in there. And then they're like, what game are you watching? I was like, I'm watching Troy and App State, man. It's the best game. Best game on right now. But it was pretty funny. I
want to just give a quick shout out. Joey Aguilar didn't have any touchdowns, didn't have any picks. I love his demeanor in the pocket against a lot of traffic from that Troy defense always around him. He throws a damn good ball and he just sits in there and does what he needs to do. I know they didn't win, but I'm excited he's coming back for App State next year. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's big news for them. And that's one of those things that, when we talk to some of these coaches, it's like, you can't even count on your star players coming back anymore. Yeah. No matter what. Dude, Ohio State's starting quarterbacks in the portal.
It's wild, dude. Every one of them feels like they're in the portal.
Yeah, so you just don't even know who's going to come back on your roster, and that's part of the reason too why you got to start from the fan perspective. You got to start giving these coaches more than a game or two to really figure out what team they got to figure out their team even. You're getting these guys. You don't have spring ball hardly. You hardly have camp anymore. They're not really even allowed to practice as much. You don't have guys for 4 years to develop them. So you're basically getting a guy like in August. You got a couple padded practices with him, and then you got a game.
Yeah.
So, it's just a different world we're living in right now. Did we hit all the conference championship games? Did we already talk about them all? So what about these bowl games? Look, here's the deal.
Hold on now. We got a game coming up this weekend.
Army Navy. I got a problem with that too, Jeff.
Please,
I got a lot of problems.
Get on your soapbox. Get back on.
How are you going to put them in the same conference? And how are you going to keep playing them after all the conference championships, after all the bowl games are announced, after all the playoff stuff is announced, especially with the new expanded playoff. What if one of them is going to win the American? And then you're going to have them play each other and not have it count towards the conference. So let's just say, hypothetical here, let's say Navy wins the American Conference, and they're the quote-unquote highest-ranked Group of 5 conference champion. They're going to be in the playoff. Well, then what happens if Army beats their ass the next week? But everything's already been selected. They have conceded any chance at being higher than playing in the Military Bowl or the Armed Forces Bowl. And I don't like it at all. And I don't like, you have a rivalry game that's one of the most historical rivals, one of the best rivalries in all of sports, and you have a chance to make it mean even more as a conference game, and you elect not to do it. It's baffling to me. Yeah. It's one of the stupidest things. And I'm gonna be controversial here too. I think the game is a lot less meaningful when it's the only game on and they just put it out there and they try too hard to hype it up as this huge game versus if it was played on rivalry weekend or, whatever, the day after Thanksgiving, something like that. I think it would be looked at as a bigger, more important, better game, better rivalry game. It's kind of like when all the bowl games are played and then you play like a couple of the New Year's games and there's always that one bowl game that's on like January 5th. That's like not one of the playoff games. And everybody's like, well, this is just kind of like a little appetizer before the championship game. That's kind of what I feel like Army and Navy has been for a little bit. And they have stepped it up a notch by making them conference mates, but not playing for a conference game. Stupid. But Commander-in-Chief trophy's on the line on Saturday. If Army wins it, they get it. Now, if Navy wins, it's going to be shared, which I believe that means it stays with Air Force because they had it last year. So, but Army's been playing pretty good ball. I mean, they're the ones that started this collapse with Air Force. Air Force hadn't won a game since then. That was a month and a half ago.
That's wild.
But, yeah, what do you guys I just think Navy's down. I don't think either one of them are great. I just think Army's got a little more momentum. They got a chance to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy outright. So I think they're playing for more. I think they want to make a statement before they move into the American Conference. I got Army.
Yeah, I agree. It's 2.5. Army's favored by 2.5. I think they cover that and take care of business for all the reasons that you said.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, which is not good. So I'm going to pick Navy to win this
Very nice
game.
tip. Very nice.
I also think they need to play that game on campus. I think playing it in Philadelphia or wherever the heck they've been playing it, it's stadium's too big. It's not on campus. It's not the same. It's just not. I don't. On campus, always, to me, would be better. Always. But except for when you get to national championship neutral site type games. But I don't like these week 1 neutral site games a ton. Don't like having playoff games not on campus, but certainly don't like a rivalry game. A rivalry game should be on campus. It would make the rivalry that much better.
Absolutely.
What else we got? Bowl games.
Let's get to them. I
say all of that to say, you know what bowl game I am like the most looking forward to, actually? Air Force James Madison. It's an interesting one. James Madison, Signetti's out there promising the world to Indiana. Which, can we, if there's James Madison people on, are we now on the same page with this guy? That guy goes to Indiana basketball school and says, Purdue sucks. Okay, sure, your rival, whatever. Then proceeds to say Michigan and Ohio State suck. Buddy, Michael Penix ain't coming through that door for y'all. Yeah, I don't know. He is just inviting criticism, and that's what I feel like we've noticed when I noticed it when he held the cell phone up to the referee. Like, dude, you're the head coach, man.
Yeah,
have a little bit of class. I don't know.
He's got something about him that we're, I think, slowly finding out why we kind of had a bad taste in our mouth about the Dukes. but we'll see
It's
who they
kinda like-
get.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like Dion, except for Dion's cool. Like Signetti's like, I don't know, maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's because he's an old white guy. But like I don't know, like some of his antics, it's like, bro, what are you doing, dude? You're not. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, what about you guys, Jeff? What bowl game are you just intrigued by?
I'm not intrigued. I'm excited about it. The old Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah,
Troy
big
versus
time.
Duke. I hope Troy sends an absolute message and just dominates the Duke Blue Devils. I think they can. I think that defense is outstanding. And just turn around, hand it to Vidal. He'll take care of the rest. But that's one I'm definitely looking forward to.
Tip, what about you?
I mean, besides the obvious with the Fiesta Bowl, Oregon and Liberty, Memphis with the home game, Liberty Bowl against Iowa State. Excited to watch that game. And then I know Taylor Green for Boise State's hit the transfer portal, but I mean, Maddox Matson, their backup quarterback, I still think he can get the job done against UCLA in the LA Bowl. So that's another one I'm looking at, even with Boise State's backup quarterback playing.
Yeah, I like that one. So you've got that one. Other opportunities against Power 5. You got South Florida Bulls playing Syracuse.
Come on.
In the Boca Raton Bowl in Florida. So, well, I was going to say South Florida probably have more fans down there, but there's a lot of New Yorkers live down there too. So Syracuse may have a decent fan base. Troy versus Duke. You've got
Bowling Green versus Minnesota.
Bowling Green, Minnesota. You got Kansas, UNLV. I like that one. Virginia Tech, Tulane is a good one.
That is a good one. Interested to see that UNLV game. Who plays quarterback?
Yeah, and then SMU, they're still going to get a Power 5. It's Boston College, however, in Boston, Fenway Bowl. So, there it is, though, for you, Tip. The future ACC rivals.
There you go.
SMU out of Dallas, Texas versus Boston College. It just doesn't fit, dude. I mean, and then is that all we got?
Memphis versus
Iowa State.
Liberty Bowl. They're playing in their own stadium.
I know. I'll tell you a game I like is that Toledo, Wyoming game. Well, I would like it better if Finn wasn't in the portal. But it's an interesting one. And, yeah, that's it, man. So we got a couple chances at some quote-unquote upsets. But, I want to talk about that, too, is like everybody's going to say all these Power 5 guys are opting out and entering the portal. Well, like, both teams are going to have guys that opt out or enter the portal before these bowl games. It's going to be and I also wouldn't be shocked if a couple of these get freaking canceled because there's too many guys in the portal. Maybe. I mean, you never know. I know that happened with during the COVID year. Was it the COVID year when games got a couple teams, like basically the teams as a whole have like opted out of playing. I think A&M did it once. I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri does it. They always pull stunts like that. But I don't know, man. I'm excited for it. I still I wish that more. I wish that, I always like more football. So I like all the bowl games, but also I think that with this new structure or the playoff structure that we currently have, it's taken away the meaning for most of them, unfortunately. And now if you're in the group of 5 and you don't make the New Year's Bowl, it's like, oh, consolation. Excuse me. And then, of course, all the Power 5s are saying if they don't make the college football playoff, they don't care about it. So it sucks. It sucks because you get a lot of really good games that are now a little bit diluted without, some of your star players playing. So it's pretty unfortunate. But we will be back. I don't know if we're going to do it next week or maybe the following week with a full bowl preview. And then we'll probably take a couple weeks off and we'll come on right before the New Year's 6 so we can talk that Liberty-Oregon game. By that time, hopefully we'll know who's playing, who's not playing, what the story is with that thing. And then football season is over. We will be at the Senior Bowl, more than likely, at that last week of January. And then, then it's spring ball, and then we're back.
Right
spring
back
ball, you go into summer workouts, and you go into camp, and then it's football season again. So it's going to come quick. This season went quick, but we've had a heck of a time, boys.
Yeah, and let's finish this episode off. We got a few voicemails from fans, post-game, pre-game. So, as always, we appreciate you guys calling in. We want your best takes, hottest takes, especially with this transfer portal stuff going on. Guys, there's so much going on from day to day. Like, be our eyes and ears. Let us know, whether it's on Twitter, you can DM, hit the hotline. Let us know who's in, who's out. 615-900-4286. Give us your hottest takes. We love hearing from you guys. So let's just get right into it. We got Nathan Stiles. This was a pregame call earlier in the week before the championship games.
So, guys, Nathan Stiles again. Go Troy. We're going to do it in the vet this Saturday. It's going to be I think it's going to be quite the vengeful beatdown after last year, what they took from us. Helped to spark as well. But do want to ask, I hear y'all talking about it right now, so I got to ask, how long you think we're going to be able to keep John Summerall? I feel like he's a really high-class, high-character guy that's going to stay until he gets really the best possible offer, i.e. Kentucky, or maybe there's some out there that he's really interested in. I don't know. But, yeah, just go Troy. It's, unfortunately for me, it was go to this game or go to the bowl game, and I'm trying to hold out for the bowl game this year since I went to the Sun Belt Championship Conference Championship last year. So, yeah, go Troy, guys. Keep it going. Keep doing what you're doing. And shout out to Coach Stockstill for a great career. See you guys.
Appreciate it, Nathan. I talk about a coach.
I'm actually surprised. I feel like his name hasn't come up as much. I almost feel like it came up more last year than it did this year. I don't. What job was open last? Auburn, I think everybody thought was because of the proximity. But
hey, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
No, I love it. I love it. They got a little scare when Texas A&M tried to hire Stoops because everybody thought he was going to go back to his alma mater, but then Texas A&M fans ran Stoops out of town before he got on the plane. I mean, dude, it is wild. Isn't it wild, man? Who knows, dude? If fans of Murfreesboro are revolting already, they may run Derek Mason out of town before they officially announce.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even. I'm staying off for a little while at least.
You gotta get off Twitter, but
yeah, things a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I hope Summerall hangs around. I mean, here's the deal. He loves it there. I mean, he's got young kids, so I'm sure that's got to factor into it.
And getting an indoor now. Plays
$10 million. Indoor. That's right.
Big things happening down there, man. Appreciate it, Nathan. Let's get to our next caller. Go to some App fans here.
Group of five guys, Baker Lloyd. Happy bowl season. Unfortunately, it was not a happy conference championship season for my Mountaineers on the field. But I'll tell you this, had a great time in Troy, Alabama. Met some great people. I did not get to meet Joe Judkins. I tried to go to his tailgate, but his buddy Brian Ross hooked me up over there. He said, Joe's already gone in the stadium. Joe's trying to get out of the rain. That's fine. And I hung out with his boys, and, man, they were some good people. Had some great food, some good times. Really, really hospitable. Really enjoyed my experience. Beautiful stadiums, beautiful campus, facilities all around at Troy. And let's be honest, they were the better team that day. They deserved to win. No doubt about it. Shit, not that day. They were the better team this season. I mean, that is what it is. So, congratulations, Troy. Well deserved. Aside from that, excited to go into bowl season and get the MAC champion, the Ohio Redhawks, and hopefully make a comeback and see if we can finish off the season strong going into next year. I know also real quick, this is a football show, but man, got to come back today and App basketball upset Auburn, and it's always good to beat those Power 5 programs. By God, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Regardless, It's a great time to be in the G5. Really curious to see what Liberty's going to be able to do against Oregon. That's a tough matchup. But, those teams, they kind of let their guard down sometimes when they start playing us. But that's not our problem. That's not our fault. They don't want to play up. Oh, well, we sure will. And you're not going to make some BS excuse for us beating you. So good luck to Liberty in doing that. With all that said, appreciate everything you do. Also, met Stu's right. I had never met him until this weekend. Great guy. Again, appreciate y'all. Go Ats. Go Group of 5 guys.
Appreciate it, Baker. Yeah, I love the fact that all you guys got together and
100%.
met each other. That's what this thing ultimately is all about, right? Creating a better community around the Group of 5.
I'm fairly certain, don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain the first time that I met Brian Ross, he fell out of his chair at Troy. Somebody at Troy that's listening, remind me if that's the guy. Like, we pulled up to the tailgate and that guy was sitting in his chair. His chair collapsed as soon as we got there. But anyway, hope y'all had the fish. I hope they were frying the grouper again, hush puppies again. But that's a good group. Troy's got some good people down there. And yeah, it's funny how like when the expectation isn't like, I don't know what the rest of these voicemails are going to come up with, but I don't think you're going to hear anybody saying fire Sean Clark because they knew how good Troy was. And it was like, well, this is the expectation. But again, it's like, that's why you got to see how the season is, because some of the teams that you lose to end up being pretty good. But like by the time the year's over, you're like, oh yeah, that was not as bad of a loss as we thought. Anyway.
Yep. Checking with the boys. Stu's right.
Hey, boys. He's right on Twitter. That was a tough conference championship game. I do feel like it was closer than the score was. That's kind of tough. Huge shout out to Joe Judkins and Brian Ross, I believe, and Chuck Carson for the hospitality and letting us come to their tailgate and taking good care of us. The weather was kind of shitty, and I hate that we had to play in front of 5,000 fans or whatever it was. I feel like you could take 20 degrees off the temperature and double the rainfall, and there'd have been 30,000 people in Boone, but they earned it and they deserved it. Troy didn't make any mistakes. Kamani Vidal's a beast. Big news, Joey Aguilar's coming back. Thrilled about that. Can't say enough about him and his effort. We got a little sweet revenge on all the Auburn fans at Troy on Sunday when our basketball team beat them in the Holmes Convocation Center. Anyways, the future's bright. Still got a big bowl game against Miami of Ohio. Looking forward to that. And I think you guys had a good time at Liberty. Still not Boone, but, it's beautiful up there, I guess. Anyways, looking forward to the show. Can't wait to talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Stu.
Love Stu. I was so fired up to. By the way, Stu, you look great, buddy.
Yeah.
Like he's lost a bunch of weight. He looks fantastic. Glad they all got together, man. Yeah. Nothing makes me happier than that, because that's big time. That's like, to me, kind of says what we're doing is, we're on the right track.
No, I agree. I love it. All right, let's keep this train rolling. Check in with our resident JMU fan.
What is up, guys? It is your friendly JMU fan, Grant Horan, giving you a call. And as Ferris Bueller says, life moves pretty fast, right? I know this week you're probably worried all about the conference championships and what's going on there, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Coach Signetti leaving the JMU Dukes and just how frustrating that is for us. Now, don't get me wrong. I get this is what happens when you're in the G5. You have a coach do really well. Of course, you're going to get poached. I think what really sucks, though, is that literally 2 weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago, you have this man on game day on the Pat McAfee show saying, oh, the grass isn't always greener. It's not about money. JMU till I die type stuff. And then, here comes, of all schools, Indiana, man. I get, hey, you got to go chase the bag. It's generational wealth. It's building for your family, leaving a legacy there. Totally get, you got to make the moves that are in your best interest. but it just really sucks here for JMU fans where care less about, let's say, next year. I know all year I was talking to you guys, I don't care about the bowl eligibility, blah, blah, blah. We'll be back next year for the Sun Belt Championship. We're making the 12-team playoffs. And I think that, to me, is like the biggest gut punch, probably for us as a fan base. It's not that I don't think Jamie's going to hire another great head coach, get some coordinators in there, and we'll still hopefully recruit well and be relatively competitive in the Sun Belt, right? I don't think another 6-6, 7-5, 8-4 season isn't doable next year, right? But it's to go from just that, oh, great, we can come back. We've got a coach who's great. We've got a bunch of seniors or, juniors who are returning for another year. Like, this team truly could go 10-2 again, 11-1, 13-0, and make the CFP in its first year. Like, what a wild transition this would be. That's, obviously totally off the table now. That is what it is. And the last thing I'll say, though, I think what is also the real frustration here is with him leaving at the time he is now, is that this bowl game for JMU, which, again, awesome that we finally get eligible because not enough teams qualify, but now you're not going to have your head coach. You have all these students who are now entering the transfer portal. And to me, for the JMU fans and also the kids who are staying at JMU, it really sucks for them in the sense that you worked so hard this great season, and now you're not going to even have the assets to, field the team. We'll see what happens with this bowl game, whatever bowl game we get, but definitely real frustrating to think, hey, this was JMU's Super Bowl going a real high, and it's all for naught. But we'll be back next year. We'll see who this next coach is. The dust will settle, and I can guarantee you JMU is still going to be a force to be reckoned with. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Grant. That guy's so level-headed as a JMU fan.
A rational guy.
And that's something.
Well, now that they're going to have a new coach, maybe the rest of them will take after their new head man, because that guy doesn't have much rationale to him.
No, he sure doesn't.
But yeah, it does suck. It does suck for them, like, to have such a great season and then it kind of just fizzle out like that, and on a bad note. Side note, a couple things of relative breaking news. Grayson McCall visiting Central Florida for the transfer portal, but positive news, Ashton Genty coming back to Boise.
I like it.
Let's
next
go.
year. He tweeted out his little announcement, said he'll be a Bronco for life. Excited to get to work on next season.
Hell yeah, that's great.
Big time.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Zachary Branner.
Well, boys, there it is. It's your boy Zachary Branner. The Troy Trojans are back-to-back Sun Belt Conference champions. Couldn't be any happier. So freaking proud of the team. Just how about Kamani Vidal? 233 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. Javon Solomon, 2 big plays, 2 big sacks, forcing a sack fumble, and then recovering the fumble. I mean, just overall, the guys really stepped up in the second half. I knew it was going to be a dogfight from the first kickoff. It's how it's going to be. It's how it should be. It's conference championships. Great atmosphere. Love it. Back-to-back champs. Side note, to all you James Madison people and everybody else talking about why the crowd was low. It has literally been raining all day in Troy. Do you think you and your mom or whoever the y'all have with your family sitting out in the rain and the cold? Yes, conference championship, we're built different, but still. Like, shut the up. Secondly, now that the championship's over, all the Sun Belt Conference teams are eligible. Let's go win out. Let's go get that cup as the best conference in the country. Let's go do it. South Alabama, please try not to fuck that up. Because you can't win a bowl game. Let's try to win one too, okay? But overall,
jeez,
happy as hell. Back-to-back champs. Let's finish out the bowl season strong, guys. Let's go.
Sorry about that, boys and girls.
It's only 9:26 p.m. on the East Coast, Jeff. There's kids watching.
I know. It's a shame.
Zach, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you, but I do know a fan base that would sit out in the rain all day and attend a game in the cold rain. It's the Liberty Flames.
Yes, they sure did. But
I'm about to be the biggest freaking Flames apologist because of all the hate that they get. I love that. I would go there. I hope my kid goes there. Hope he's good at sports. I hope he goes there. I hope we ski on the mountain together in the middle of the summer. Hope we're skiing down the mountain. looking at the big LU and the whatever else they got going on there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm interested to see how these bowl games shake out. I'd love the Group of 5 as a whole to just dominate all the Power 5 matchups. But we'll see. All right, got a couple more to go, and our boy Dan, the Rocket Man Savage.
Hey guys, this is Dan Rocket Man Savage, calling about 15 hours after that MAC championship. Toledo doesn't get it done. Miami kicked our ass on special teams. What are you going to say? They're a great team. Whoever they get in a bowl game, I doubt they're going to score very much on them. Number one specs unit in the country. Toledo's played 4 or 5 of those top 10 teams this year. And to this point, it hadn't mattered. But you block 2 or 3 kicks and, switch field position. Toledo continues to outgame their opponents but doesn't get it done. And now Toledo is rewarded with Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl, the same time as the Orange Bowl. Wyoming's a good team. They beat Texas Tech. They held Texas for 3.5 quarters. Who's a playoff team. So it's not going to be easy. I say Toledo deserves all the roses if they can go 12-2 and get that win on the CW. But I digress. Congratulations, Liberty. It shows that it wasn't a foregone conclusion that the winner of that crappy American Conference this year was going to the New Year's Six. So good luck. Score a lot of points. I'm going to be betting the over in your guys' game. Thanks, guys. Go Rockets.
Poor Dan.
That game, the Arizona Bowl, that's the Barstool Bowl, isn't it? Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl?
I know it was last year.
That's a good bowl, though. They're going to get some
too.
good stuff. The only problem is I don't think that's on TV. Like, I think Barstool streams it.
I think it's on Barstool TV or something. Or at least it was last year. Again, I don't know.
But for the players, I bet you that's one of the best. I bet you that's one of the best bowl games as far as gifts and like the week, all the activities that they're going to have leading up to it. I bet you that one's a sweet one.
That's the Barstool Bowl.
Oh yeah, see, they probably love. I bet the Toledo and Wyoming guys are fired up about it. I'm sure
that's gonna be a really good game.
Yeah,
it is.
Should be. No Finn though. I assume he's in the portal.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But let's finish off these last couple voicemails here. Guy we met this weekend, Caleb.
What's up, Group of 5 guys? It's Caleb Wynn, long-time listener, first-time caller. You may know me as Barstool Flames. So excited to have you guys in Lynchburg this past weekend. It was great meeting you. Thanks for coming out. Hope you had a great time. Man, I'm just so excited. We are 13-0 conference champions, and the committee did the right thing, man. They put us over SMU. There was no doubt in my mind. There was a little bit. But we were here. We deserved it. We got Oregon. It's going to be a tall task. People say that Bo Nix might not play, whatever. I don't care. We beat them. I think we win. It's going to be a great game. It's great news for the Group of 5. Keeping a Group of 5 team, not some bum, lazy SMU that's going to the big Power 5. We're going in. We're going to win the game. Go Flames, baby. Woo!
I'm all about it. I hope they kick Oregon's ass.
That guy right there is one of the psychopaths, shirtless during that whole game.
They got to get the jokers, all of them.
They got to. I saw they had a
down
GoFundMe. Get them down there. Get a GoFundMe. It was a GoFundMe. Send the jokers to Arizona.
Do it.
Send them. Yeah.
Somebody make that happen. Appreciate you, Caleb. All right, let's get to our last two. Go with our boy, Zach Green.
What's up, boys? Zach Green here. And man, I've come down off my little bit of high from this afternoon, but let's freaking go, baby. Let's go. I hope that didn't blow out your speakers, but the Flames are the Group of 5 representative going to Glendale, Arizona, January 1st for a Fiesta Bowl date with the Oregon Ducks. I'll probably call in later with some thoughts about the game, but man, it is an honor to be here at this point. 13-0, conference champions Friday night. What a good game that was, man. What a great game that was. New Mexico State, shout out to you guys. Just kept punching back, man. Punch back. Really proud of New Mexico State as a program. But even prouder of the Flames on Friday night. just running all over New Mexico State. Awesome game, good environment. I'll probably get back to that in a little bit, and here we are, New Year's 6. I mean, it is unbelievable that we're in this position, and just don't have a ton else to say about it, but it's just incredible. Shout out to SMU for getting that win over Tulane. Hope y'all have fun playing Boston College up in Boston at the end of December. But with all due respect, I'll probably be pulling for you guys, get that Group of 5 win. Shout out to Steeple for messaging me a couple times. Some congratulations. Man, you've been very nice to me. You're a great caller, and you've really just helped me respect Coastal Carolina, man. I hope you'll keep calling in even after your son's done playing, and I hope you enjoy your good time in Hawaii. But proud of the Flames, excited for this opportunity, man. And I know I got a lot of haters. I know there's a lot of Liberty haters out there, including in the Group of 5. But I hope you'll support us, man. The Group of 5, this is a huge opportunity for the Group of 5. Is it an unlikely win? Yes. But what if? What if? All right? So I would love for y'all to support us. I know a lot of you callers will. I know the Group of 5 guys will. But other listeners, man, support us. We need your support. And the Flames are in this thing for the long haul. We're going to be a problem in the Group of 5 for years to come. Shout out Jamie Chadwell. Shout out Caden Salter. Shout out all the boys, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And Group of 5 guys, it was awesome meeting you this weekend. Had a great time Thursday night. Had a great time seeing you guys again Friday night and doing your show. Thank you so much for being there. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That was a huge part of the weekend. It was an awesome time, and I appreciate you being there. Awesome meeting you guys. And shout out to Liberty Twitter for showing out. You guys are awesome. Go Flames, baby. Let's get it.
Appreciate you, Zach, man, and all that you've helped us with getting that all coordinated up. Because, I mean, there's so many people that had a hand in helping us make that come to fruition. So, but you kind of started it, so appreciate you.
I don't know why this came to my mind just now, but you guys give me a lot of crap about the hotels. The Virginian, Lynchburg, Virginia is
elite.
Sweet. Yeah, it's a big time hotel.
Top notch.
I mean, Murph over here is doing cold plunges in that big garden tub.
It was great.
I mean,
nothing better when you have a little cocktails the night before. You hop in that cold plunge, you feel right as rain, boys. I'm telling you.
Now, do you go all the way up to the neck when you cold plunge?
Yeah. Now that tub was a little hard because I'm 6 foot. So, like, when I'd go all the way down, my knees would come up. I got bad knees, so I had to keep those bad boys in the water.
Well, I read you. All right.
No, shout out to everybody who helped us, honestly, and hate that we had some technical difficulties, but the cold and the rain, it's just tough doing that remote stuff. But thank you to Sea of Red, Ironclad Coffee, Jason Porter Realty, Chad. I mean, just everybody, man. Devin Doyle, everybody who helped us. Really appreciate it.
No question.
So, let's get to our last caller, and then we'll get out of here. And if I missed a bleep, I apologize, but Joe Judkins was on a rant.
Group of 5 guys, Joe Judkins here from the Emerald Coast. Bowl season greetings to you fellas. First off, Stu's right, Trip, and all those app-staters that came by the pregame tailgate. We had a blast, guys. Sorry the weather was a shitty mess, but hope you enjoyed the fish, the grits, and the hush puppies. Hey, thanks for the mountain water from the Copperhead Road, boys. We enjoyed that as well. For the game, what a nasty, rainy mess. Game was outstanding, though, until the fourth quarter. And then we took the Mountaineers and shoved those muskets straight up their ass and sent them home looking for dry powder, boys. Too much Kamani, too much Trojan defense, too much Troy. It was obvious that day who the best team in the Sun Belt was. Off, JMU. Then comes Selection Sunday. What a joke, y'all. How in the living hell is Troy not in the top 25? Tell me how that is it. 11-2, sitting behind Oklahoma State, common opponent, team from Mobile, 8-4 Oregon State, Tennessee, Clemson, and the eye test bullshit shows that Troy's are better than both Tulane and JMU. Yes, JMU. How about 2024 Group of 5 Classic kickoff in Charlotte, boys? Week 0, Troy versus Liberty. How do we make that happen? Thankful Troy's playing a P5 opponent in Duke, but the rest of the belt, the best damn group of 5 conference in the country, and we get the same old bullshit if there ever was a year to have the group of fives back in that committee room, it was this year. Apologize for the rant. I know you feel my pain. I know Florida State does too. Hey, a little update. Chancellor Hopkins came out yesterday and said a $10 million indoor practice facility commitment was being made, and he announced it to the team at the bowl party. Ain't real sure what $10 million buys, but it ought to get us a roof somewhere and put the players in a dry area. Hey, lastly, I hope we got to hear a recap of your Liberty experience. I know you guys had a great time. Those of us on the live show missed the first few minutes. I know you guys were like, oh, my God, they got it going on, because they got it going on in Lynchburg, facilities-wise for sure. Hey, I appreciate what you guys do, what you do for the Group of Five. I appreciate you introducing folks to a real football show about players and teams and schools that are almost always an afterthought to the pinheads in the national media. You guys do it right. Good luck to all the Group of Five bowl participants, but especially to the Sunbelt teams. Time to prove we are the best. Go Trojans.
Just a man, dude.
Great call. Great call. I mean,
So
dude,
good.
he's right about all that. You know, that sucks too, that the live stream, so the live stream audio wasn't good from the jump.
Yeah.
So I thought I had an all-time great introduction
It
to
was.
it,
It was
and
great.
then it didn't get either, but you know, it's all right, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll
He
see you
mentioned
guys later. I'm gonna go hang myself. See you guys.
that's where you get in the portal. That's it. You know.
Well, that's
Find
the
some-
main reason why I'm getting in the portal, Sprout.
Flip this roster real quick. No, but you know, he talked about, you know, this is what we always talk about. This is like real college football. These are authentic ass fans that listen and call in and tweet and stuff like that. And this is not the bandwagon bunch over here, man. And so I'm just glad that people are seeing it. I'm glad the guys like Joe, the guys like Zach, Stu, Tripp, all these guys that like kind of jumped on board early, and they're spreading the good word, because y'all are the ones that are, you know, spreading the word for us. I mean, like we talked about, Zach started calling in, and the next thing you know, there's like 1,000 Liberty fans that embrace us, no problem. And so that starts with one fan. We see one guy or girl from every Group of Five school in the country, and we will have this thing the way we want it to be. So appreciate all of you. Everybody that calls in is that guy. So can't thank y'all enough, man. But that all we got, Jeff? That was the last one?
That's it. Take us home.
Appreciate everybody. You guys know the deal. Follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five Guys. Twitter's the main one, but I can tell you we've been trying to get better at Facebook and Instagram. So if you have those, make sure you jump on those as well and follow us on there too. Going to be more videos, some cooler content coming out for you on those platforms. Subscribe to the channel, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your podcast. Just search Group of Five Guys. Subscribe, like, share, comment, leave a review, all the above on that. Or you can go to groupof5guys.com, get you some Group of Five Guys swag. We will catch you in probably 2 weeks, maybe in 1 week. We'll see. We'll let you know. See you guys.